So today we're going to be talking a little bit about facts and fiction in the realm of exercise. So as you all know already, and we've discussed here before, there's lots of information out there about exercise. The one thing that we do know that's undisputed, exercise, physical activity is the number one thing that you can do to delay cognitive decline. Right? That's pretty big. That's really important, right? But there's lots more information out there. What types of exercise should you do? How much exercise should you do? Should you be weightlifting? Should you not weightlift? Should you get more cardio? We'll dig a little bit into this today. And not only will we be doing talking, but we'll actually get into some of the exercise.
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you share your screen just to make sure that we're all looking at you as a focus? I don't know if the screen is showing yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I actually don't have any slides. I'll just be talking with you guys, but making sure that you guys can see me. You guys see me? Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Someone says yeah. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, you guys. So, couple things that we're going to talk about, some facts and some fiction, and we'll kind of be talking a little bit about how to sift through the information that's out there. So we'll do a little bit of that, and we'll jump into a game. We'll jump into a 2 truths, 1 lie game about physical activity or exercise before we actually jump into our workout. So we have a great broadcast for you today. So again, thanks for joining. Before we jump into all of that, I just wanted to point out a couple things that I have here. For starters, I have this non-rolling chair. This is my nice stool/chair here. For all of our exercises, they're going to be available to you at any level of physical activity. So seated or standing modifications, I will always demonstrate before we do the exercise. And also notice I have my water, okay? So I have my water here. Have something to hydrate. Even before you're thirsty, take sips of water, get hydrated, and take a break even before I tell you to take a break. So always feel free to take a break and jump back in when you're ready. I have some weights here, so I have these medicine balls, and I have some actual dumbbells here, completely optional. So one thing I'm going to be showing is that even without having external weights, we still have our body as our weight. So gravity is pulling us constantly. That's resistance training, right? We're working against the force of gravity. So up to you, and I'll point out some opportunities where we can grab weight if you would like to make the exercise more intense, or you could go body weight and still get a nice full workout. All right, but let's go back. Let's jump into some facts versus fiction. So fact number 1, as we said, exercise boosts brain function, undisputed. But let's talk a little bit about exercise. Exercise and physical activity sometimes get misconstrued or confused. Exercise is a specific type of physical activity. When you're exercising, you're kind of working on one of the domains or one of the dimensions of physical fitness. So whether that's your endurance, whether that's muscular strength, when you're working on something specifically, when you're training specifically, that's exercise. Now, I'll pause there, okay? So exercise boosts brain function. Now, physical activity can be exercise, right? But not all physical activities are exercise. Just because you're moving your arms, I'm swaying my arms, that's physical activity, but I'm not exercising. Now, if I'm doing arm circles, right? Arm circles, then we've gone into the realm of exercise. So it's important to know the difference. I think that's one really important piece of exercise versus physical activity. Oh, okay. So, oh, great. I'm not sure if you guys hear me. My system, okay, here we go. My system went down for a second. I am back. Next thing, consistency is key for cognitive benefits, okay? What that means is it's important to stay consistent. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to exercise every single moment of every single day, but it is important that you're building up your stamina. You're building up a robust amount of exercise per week. So what is that robust amount? The CDC and the American College of Sports Medicine both suggest 150 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity each week. All right, so 150 minutes, that's a pretty decent sized chunk. The good news is you don't have to do that all in one sitting or one day. All right, you can break that down into 10-minute chunks and really break it out throughout the week. So some suggest about 30 minutes, about 5 days a week. That gives you 2 days that you can sprinkle in there of rest. But really you can get nice and creative with how you exercise throughout the week. One thing I also suggest is on top of that 150 minutes of physical activity, it's also important to fit in at least 2 days of resistance training. So something where you're load bearing. So like I said, you don't have to necessarily hold a weight, but when I'm doing a squat, right? Bending down and doing a squat, I'm working against a resistance. So 2 days of doing some type of resistance training exercise. All right? So 2 things to remember, 150 minutes per week and 2 days of load bearing or resistance training exercises. If you have one takeaway, that's the one, okay? All right, so let's pause and let's go into a little bit of the fiction now. So you might see that online, you might see, okay, you need to do only intense workouts. Only intense workouts are good in improving the brain, improving brain health. That is fiction. All right, like I said, moderate intensity exercise, even low intensity exercise has a positive benefit for brain health. So you guys, I am empowering you today. Don't let anybody tell you you only have to do high intensity exercise for some type of benefit. Any and all exercise is good. All right, any and all physical activity can be beneficial to you. Okay, another fiction here. You shouldn't start exercising and weightlifting and doing exercises once you reach a certain age. Completely fiction, okay? Don't let anybody tell you that. Any age is fine to start. You guys may have seen in news and different articles, there's some people who have started to train for something like a 5K or even a marathon at the age of 80 and above, right? So remember, any age is okay for you to go out there and exercise. And I'll say that with a caveat, all right? Before you start a structured exercise program, it is important to talk to your primary care provider and make sure that you are fit to start a structured, regular exercise program. So if it has been a while since you've got out and done miles and done lots of walking or done weightlifting, do take those steps to make sure you are in a good position to start something regular. Last thing I say there is you want to do something that you can enjoy. All right, so if weightlifting is not for you, maybe walking is, or maybe going to the park and meeting up with friends and doing some light physical activity or moderate physical activity works better for you. The idea is you want to stick with something that's interesting, right? We're not going to stick with this lifestyle adaptation if it's hard to do, right? Of course, over time, you want to progress and get better as we go along, but you want to have something that's accessible and easy to you and fun for you to do, okay? Now, let's pause and we're going to jump into our 2 facts and our 2 lies and a truth, okay? So, what I want you guys to do is in the chat, I'm going to tell you a couple different statements, and I want you guys to tell me which one you think, and I mix it up. I'm going to say 2 truths and 1 lie, so you guys only have to choose which one is the lie. All right, so I'll give you 2 truths and 1 lie. Okay, statement number 1. Exercise is great for your muscles and your brain. All right, we talked about this earlier, so that one should be easy. All right, next statement. You need to exercise every single day to really get a benefit for your cognitive health. The next statement, starting exercise at any age can improve brain function. All right, 2 truths, 1 lie. There's 1 lie in there. I'll give you a minute, okay? Think about it. While we think about it, you guys also mentally get ready. We're going to get our exercise space ready. You want to make sure you don't have anything that will cause you to slip or trip. If you prefer, you can have some grippy shoes. I have my sneakers on so I can move comfortably. And again, I have my water just to stay hydrated over here on the side. All right. Hopefully you have put your answers in the chat. Number 2, okay, the statement that you need to exercise every single day to have cognitive health benefits is false, all right? Hopefully you guys got that. Stay vigilant. Remember, there's lots of information out there, so it's important for us to get our information from trusted sources. And once we have that information, spread that. Not everybody knows all the information that is true, but we got a little bit today. Okay? I appreciate you guys. Let's do this. Let's get into our workout. We're going to do something today we call our fundamental workout plus. So what that means is we're going to start with some simpler exercise movements. Then we're going to put them together and do a exercise complex or a compound exercise. So again, weights are optional, and I'm going to show you seated and standing versions for each exercise. All right? So let's go ahead. We're going to go back, get comfortable. I'm going to get us ready here, and then we're going to start our workout. But before we jump into the workout, always important that we get a nice, good warm-up. So we'll start with our neck here. We're just going to do a nice, gentle upwards and downwards neck movement. And as we're doing our neck movement here, you want to make sure you're getting nice, good breaths. Sometimes as we exercise, we want to hold our breath, but today I want us to really emphasize breathing as we move, all right? A couple more of these, up and down. Then come back to center. With all of these neck movements, we want to move nice and slowly and controlled. We don't want to do any jerky movements, all right? So now I'm going to look over my shoulder, nice and easy, and then I'm going to go to the other side. Just working through that pain-free range of motion here, allowing the neck to get a little loosened and ready for our exercise movements. Looking over your left shoulder, looking over your right. One more time, both sides. And right, and we'll come back to center. All right, so we're gonna pause for a second. For this next one, I want you to be especially gentle on your neck. We're gonna bring our ear to our shoulder, getting a nice side bend in our neck here. Back to center, and then ear to other shoulder. Keep it going side to side. Again, thank you so much for joining today. We're going to get a nice, good workout. Not too long, not too many calories that we'll burn, but we'll burn a good amount. We'll burn a solid amount. And then those of us who like candy, maybe you'll get some candy tomorrow from somebody. Maybe it's the grandkids, maybe who knows, maybe it's the kids, maybe it's us ourselves. We'll get some candy and fill up on these calories that we're burning, right? And back to center. All right, we'll move into shoulders now. So we're going to shoulder shrug. I'm going to bring our shoulders up and then slowly release. And I'm going to let my breath follow my shoulders. So I'm breathing in as I shrug up and breathe out slowly and release. A few more of these. Two more, one more time, up and release, and last time, up and release. We're gonna keep going, but this time we're gonna breathe up and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Two more of those, breathe in. 2, 1, and release. And last one, breathe in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Very good. Shake out the arms. We're going to do some shoulder rolls now. So what I mean, I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. I'm going to bring my shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Keep it going. Forward, up, back, and down. Very good. Nice smooth motion here. You're just looking to move the shoulders. Just getting a nice, good rolling motion. And last one, we're gonna pause, Now I want us to go the opposite direction, all right? So again, turning to the side, I'm going back, up, forward, and down. Keep it going. Back, up, forward, and down. Nice and smooth motion here. Remember, all of these movements can be done seated or standing. And last one, forward and down. Shake out the arms as I move back towards my seat here. And we can all take a seat here. We're actually gonna do some lower body movements, all right? So what I want us to do, if possible, if your body allows you today, I want you to take your leg, just gently pull it towards you, release, and switch, doing the same thing, all right? Pulling the leg towards and slowly releasing. Make sure here you don't want to drop your leg, all right? So again, slow and controlled motion is the name of the game. Let's do one more each leg. Pulling this one, pulling the other one, and release. Very good. Shake it out. Throughout our exercises here today, I'm going to say something called active rest. What I mean by that is instead of just kind of sitting and waiting for our next movement, we're going to be marching in place. This is our active rest, our active recovery. All right? So we're marching in place here, just allowing that blood flow to continue seated or standing throughout this workout. All right? All right, and we'll pause. Next thing I want to do is I want to work on our ankle joints, okay? So the ankle is really important for balance. Okay, so what we're going to do, if you're seated, okay, if you're seated, I want you to raise both legs, and you're going to be raising and pressing, okay? So you're pressing your toes forward and then bringing them back towards you. Toes forward and back. If you're standing, you can do one leg at a time, whether you're balancing or if you're holding on to something like the wall. One leg at a time, you'll go up and down, and then you'll switch to the other leg, up and down. All right, for now, I'll be seated. Feel free to join me. Listen to your body, seated or standing, up to you. We're doing plantar flexion and dorsiflexion. Let's go. Pressing and release. This is a nice, good warm-up. We get a full body warm-up just to prepare our body for the exercises. And this warm-up, really, the purpose is to simulate different movements that we might perform in whatever physical activity that we're doing, right? And last one, and stop, all right. Last one that we'll do for our ankles, we're gonna do ankle circles, okay? So again, if you're seated, both feet, we're doing circles. We're starting from the middle and coming outwards, okay? If you're standing, you'll go one leg at a time, doing those ankle circles. And 3, 2, 1, perfect. We'll pause. Now we're going to go the opposite direction. So I'm bringing my feet inwards with these ankle circles. Nice solid warm up. You should feel your lower legs, your shins all starting to heat up a little bit as we warm up those muscles. We got 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Shake it out, shake it out. Very good, you guys. Seated or standing, let's get an active rest. And guess what? Congratulations, you have finished the warm-up. We're doing good, we're doing good. So now, while we're doing our active rest, for those of you who have joined before, you might know a little game that we play. We're gonna play a game where I'm gonna tell you 3 words. And at the end of our session, I want to see if you can remember those 3 words and tell it back. So, of course, I can't see you, but you can type those words in the chat. All right, so we'll see if you can remember those words. Those words today, our words are going to be breakfast, orange, Olivia. Okay, let's see if we remember those words at the end. Keep it going, a couple more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, very good. Our first exercise that we're gonna do today, we're gonna do a squat, okay? We're gonna break the squat down into very specific intentional movements. So the squat is a very good movement. It really strengthens that lower body. But the thing about the squat is it can easily cause injury if we're doing it the wrong way. Let me turn to the side so I can show you, all right? So the squat should be done by pushing backwards more than going forward. So as I squat down, watch as I squat down, notice my knees are still over my toes. I don't want my knees to go forward as I squat down, okay? As I'm turning forward to show you, I'm squatting down, all right? Versus, and here's a bad example, something you don't want to do, make sure that when you squat, see how my knees went forward there? That can lead to injury in the knees. We want to protect the knees by having good form. And this goes for any lower body exercise. You want to have good form and protect the knee, protect those joints as we're load bearing. So it may not hurt that much as we're not holding weight, but let's say you want to increase the weight and you're doing that exercise with improper form, that can lead to injury over time. So let's make sure that we're doing the proper form in these exercises. Now let me show you a seated variation for a squat, all right? I'm doing a small lift instead. So I'm still having my squat position, meaning my feet are about shoulder width apart. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use my arms, I'm leaning forward, and I'm just gonna push up for a little bit and come back down, all right? So just a small modification, a small movement there. You're still activating your quadriceps, getting a nice good leg exercise, all right? Really important to strengthen the lower body to prevent falls. All right, so we're gonna do a set of squats, then we'll move on to our next exercise. Remember, these exercises are gonna build together here, so follow along, let's give it our best. All right, so seated or standing, I'm gonna do our first set seated here, and I'll do my second set standing, all right? And we're gonna do 2 sets of 8, all right, in 3, 2, 1, and we're squatting and down, 2, down, 3, down, 4, down, 5, keep it going, 6, 7, and last one, 8, and down. Very good. In between our sets, we're marching in place, our active rest, all right? Feel free to do your second set seated or standing. You can switch how you like. It's really up to you, okay? Listen to your body, see how you feel, and act accordingly. All right, 10 more seconds, and we'll get into our next set of squats. In 3, 2, 1. All right, perfect. Back to squat. Position, legs, feet are about shoulder width apart, and we're squatting down. We're doing 8 in 3, 2, 1, and down. 2, 3, you guys check my form. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Very good. Keep it going, marching in place. Remember, drink water anytime you need, take a break anytime you need, and jump back in when you're ready. All right, exercise 1 of this complex, done. Now for exercise 2. All right, so for this exercise, again, weights are optional. I'm gonna show you how to do these exercises with or without weights. So for the first one, doing a squat, right, you can just hold weights as you squat down. It's adding an extra resistance to you. For this next one, all right, potentially you might have something like a resistance or a medicine ball, or you might have dumbbells, or you might have a bottle of water, 2 bottles of water. Let me show you what we're gonna do. We're gonna do some dumbbell curls, bicep curls. We're gonna do some dumbbells. We're gonna do some bicep curls, and we're just curling up and coming down, all right? Now, let's say I had one item, like that medicine ball, in both of my hands. All I'm gonna do is hold that item in both hands and curl and come back, whether that's 1 or 2 bottles, whatever you have. If you would like to use weight, feel free to use it. Now, if I'm not using weight, let me show you here. What I want you to do, really important, is imagine you're lifting the most heavy weight you ever lifted. No, I'm just kidding. I want you to still be in that form, and I want you to curl and come back. And as you curl, I want you to think about the part of your arms that you're working. Okay, you're working your biceps here. So I want you to squeeze the biceps as you curl each time. I'm squeezing and coming back. Squeezing and coming back. All right, so we're gonna do 2 sets of 8 again. Remember, this can be done seated or standing. Just like last time, I'll do my first set seated. I'm gonna use weights. You don't have to if you don't want to. Okay, and I'm gonna start with my weights down. And we're doing 8 in 3, 2, 1, curling, and back down. 2, down. 3, make sure you're breathing. 4, and down. 5, down. 6, down. 7, down, and last one, 8, and down. Perfect. Let's keep marching in place. All right, you guys keep marching in place. Let me show you something here. All right, so marching in place, active rest. Now watch this. As I was curling here, notice I'm rotating my dumbbells, okay? What that means is my wrist is starting in this position and ending up here in this position, all right? So I'm rotating every time I curl. You're working more of the muscle that way, all right? So let's do our second set. Okay, give us 5 more seconds marching in place. This time I'll be standing. Feel free, sit or stand. We got 8 bicep curls coming in. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go. Curl and back. 2, back. 3, back. 4, back. 5, back. 6, 2 more. 7, and last one, 8, and back. Perfect, very good. You can set your weights down, okay? And we're marching in place again. Exercise 2, complete. We got one more, then we're gonna put all 3 together for our exercise complex. All right, keep it going. Remembering to drink water anytime you need. We got 10 more seconds. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, shake it out. All right, last exercise of this complex. I'm gonna again start with the weights just to demonstrate real quick, and then I'll demonstrate without weights. Last exercise is gonna be an overhead shoulder press. Now, your shoulder today, I'm not sure how your shoulder feels, so we can do a couple different modifications. It's always important to know how your shoulder feels, how your body is feeling, okay? If your shoulder's feeling tight, it's not always best, and it can be painful to do an overhead motion. If you're gonna do a different movement because your shoulder is tight, hang on and I'll show you what we're gonna do here in a second. Now, if we're doing that shoulder motion, if our shoulder feels okay today, what we're doing is something called an Arnold press. Okay, we're starting with arms in front of us, and I am pushing up and over and rotating, okay? So pushing up and over and rotating my arms as I push up overhead. Now notice one thing, as I go up overhead, I'm not actually putting my weights over my head, okay? I wanna put my weights up in a position that's a little up in front of me, so that way I can see that way it's a little bit safe, just in case something like the weights were to fall or anything, all right? Now, if my shoulder's feeling kind of tight today, if I'm feeling any shoulder pain, instead of doing an upwards motion, what I'd rather have you do is a forward motion, okay? Little more gentle on the shoulder than going up and overhead. So you notice how your body's feeling. You're either gonna go forward or overhead. We're gonna do some shoulder push or chest push, depending on how your shoulders are feeling today. Remember, you can do this seated or standing. I'll go seated first. And again, we're doing 2 sets of 8. So I'm starting with arms up, and we're pushing over. We're doing 8 in 3, 2, 1, and push. Rotate your arms as you raise and back. 2, and back. 3, and back. 4, and back. 5, and back. 6, and back. 7, and back, last one, 8, and back, very good. We'll set our weights down carefully. If you're using weights, either way, you want to shake your arms out, get them to reset, and we're marching in place for active rest. You guys keep marching. Let me show you again. If I'm not using weight, I'm still doing that same motion. I'm having arms up and over and rotating. Okay? Keep on marching. We have one more set of this. Then we're going to put these 3 exercises together in our first exercise complex here. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, shake it out. Grab your weights if you choose to use weights. We'll do our second set. Whether you're seated or standing, arms are in front of you. We're pressing up and overhead. Ready, and push, and down. 2, down. 3, down. 4, down. 5, keep it going. 6, 7, and last one. That's 8. And let's set our weights down carefully. Shake out the arms. Let's march in place again. So we finished the third exercise for our exercise complex, which can only mean it's time for the final boss, which is putting it all together. All right, we can do it together. We got through the first 3, so we'll knock it out together, right? But first, let's keep marching in place. Remember, drink water, take a break, get a quick stretch, jump back in whenever you're ready. All right, 10 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, so our first complex is going to be a squat, bicep curl, overhead press, or chest press. So let me show you that. First, the seated version. If we're seated, and I'll show with no weights first. If we're seated, we're doing our little hover for our squat, then bicep curl, and then overhead press. All right, so that's 1 rep. Squat, curl, press. If I'm standing, I'm squatting, curling, and then pressing up and overhead, okay? So up to you if you're seated or standing. And again, if you would like to use weights, please feel free. I'll use my weights. Let's get in position. And we're doing our squat, curl, overhead press, or chest press. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. Squat, curl, press. 2, curl, press. 3, curl, press. 4, curl, press. 5, curl, press. 6, we got 2 more. We got this. Curl, press. 7, curl, press, and this is the last one. And 8, curl and press. And carefully set your weights down. Shake it off. We are done with that complex. Let's march in place. Great job, you guys. Isn't that good news? We do only 1 set of the complex. Now the bad news, we have 1 more complex to go. But we can get through it, right? We got this. Remember, take a break whenever you need it. And rehydrate it. Even before you feel thirsty, you should be rehydrating, all right? And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, very good. For our second and last complex, the first exercise is a Romanian deadlift or a hip hinge, okay? We'll call it a hip hinge. So I'll turn to the side so you can see. For the hip hinge, we're only going to be bending at the waist, okay? So different than the squat. The squat, I'm lowering myself to the ground, but for the hip hinge, I'm just bending at the waist. All right, so it's called the Romanian deadlift. Imagine if we had some weights you might have seen before, I would be lowering the weight to the ground. So we're not gonna hold the weights just yet. We're just hip hinging. So I have my hands on my hips just to emphasize that movement of that hip hinge. Now, again, this can be done seated. Same thing, I have my hips just really in line, and I'm just going to be bending forward. The key here is that my back should be nice and flat. Flat back as I do this exercise. You don't want your back to curve, again, just to prevent injury as you do these movements. All right, so we're gonna do some hip hinges. Again, 2 sets of 8 as we do these hip hinges, either seated or standing. All right, I'll do a standing, and then I'll switch to seated after. Ready, hip hinge in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Down and up, 2, up, 3, up, 4, up, 5, up, 6, up, 7, up, and last one, 8, and up. Very good. Shake it out, march in place. We're getting some good work in, and we're nearly there. We're almost there, so I appreciate you guys. Thank you for exercising together with us. Here at CEP, we have fun. We get good exercises going. Like Greg said in the beginning, we have some nutrition classes going. We have all types of fun things going here at CEP. Be sure to gather any information that you may need if you're interested in the Cognitive Empowerment Program. All right, let's do one more set, all right? So seated or standing, let's do our second set of our hip hinges. I'm gonna be seated this time. Hands are on our hips, and we're doing 8 more hinges in 3, 2, 1. Hinge, and up, 2, up. I'm still having my back flat. 3, up, nice flat back. 4, up. 5, up. 6, up. 2 more. 7, up, and last one, 8, and up. Very good. Again, marching in place as we get ready for our next movement. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. Our next movement is going to be a bent over row. Let me show you guys what that looks like. So that movement puts together the last movement we did, the hip hinge, with an upper body movement. All right. So let me show you what that looks like. So for the bent over row, and I'll start seated, I'm going to get into that hip hinge position. Okay. My arms are going to be hanging to the side, and I'm going to bring my arms back and my elbows up. Okay. So that entire time I'm doing that exercise, I'm going to be in that bent over position and allow my arms to do all the work. Okay, notice my elbows are coming nice and high. Now, if I'm standing, let me show you that. Okay, if I'm standing, again, getting into that bent position, and my elbows are coming up, my arms are doing all the work. Okay, so that's a bent over row. So seated or standing, you choose. You don't need to use weight, but feel free if you would like to use the weights. I'm going to be seated. I'm in that bent over position, and we're doing our bent over rows in 3, 2. We're doing 8. 1. Let's go. 1 and down. 2 down. 3 down. 4 down. 5 down. 6 down. 7 down, and last one, 8 and down. Very good. You can set your weights down if you have them carefully. Let's march in place. We're moving right along. We're almost done. Make sure you're rehydrating. We have one more set of our bent over rows. Hey, maybe you want to challenge yourself. You say, hey, maybe I want to try that movement standing this time. Again, listen to your body, see how it feels, and feel free to adjust even in the middle, okay? You might start and do 1 or 2 seated, try standing, maybe go back to seated. Feel free to move at your own pace. Use me as a guide, okay? You don't have to move as fast or even look exactly like I am. I'm more so that guide to let you know how to do it without injuring yourself. All right. Shake it out. Hope you're doing well. Let's finish up. We'll grab our weights again. Standing. I'm going to do some bent over rows. I'm in position. I'm in that bent over row position. I'm bringing arms up and behind me in 3, 2, 1. Raise and down. 2. Down. 3. Down. 4. Down. 5. 6. 2 more. 7. And last one. 8. Perfect. We're going to stand straight up. Set our weights down. March in place. We have one more exercise, then we'll put it all together. Then we'll wrap it up. You've been doing really good. Let's hang on. Almost there. And 10 seconds. All right, perfect. The last exercise is going to be our upright row. Okay, so for the upright row, while I'm up, I'll show you guys. What I want you to do is have your arms kind of hanging loose in front of you. And for the upright row, we're going to be bringing the weights up towards our chin. And notice how my arms kind of flare out to the side. Okay, I'm really carefully, and I'll come to the side to show you, bringing my weights up under my chin. Okay, so if I'm seated, I'm doing that same movement. I'm bringing the weights up and right back down, okay? Bring the weights up and down. Let's do 2 sets of 8 of these upright rows. Seated or standing, I'll be standing here. Let's do our first set in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Up and down. 2, down. 3. Keep it going. 4 and down. 5, down. 6, 7, and last one, 8, and down. Very good. We'll set the weights down. Shake out the arms. March in place. Give us a nice quick 20 seconds, and we'll jump back into it. And 10, 9, 8, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's do our upright rows. Grab your weights if you're using them. Ready in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Raise and down. 2, down. 3, down. 4, down. 5, down. 6, and down. 7, down, and last one, 8, and down. Very good. We'll set our weights down. And guess what? This is the last complex. Shake it out, shake it out. We're going to put those 3 movements together. So this time it's going to be a bent over row with an upright row, okay? So meaning I'm going to be bending over, row, then I'm coming upright, and row. So notice I didn't say hip hinge because that hip hinge is built in, okay? When you're going from upright to that bent over position, you're doing that hip hinge motion. And remember, that movement can be done seated or standing, all right? So again, I'm bending, row, upright, and row. All right, so seated or standing. This is our final 8. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. Bend, row, up, and row. That's 1, bend, row, up, and row. That's 2, keep it going. Row, up, row, bend, row, up, and row. Keep it going. Bend, row, up, row, bend, row, up, and row. Very good. We'll set our weights down. And look at that, we beat the final boss just like that. It was not bad, right? I'm sweating. I don't know about you guys, but we did it. Great job, you guys. We're gonna get a nice good cool down. And while we're doing our nice cool down, I want you to start getting those gears turning again. What were those 3 words that we remembered earlier in the session? Put them down below in the chat. Thank you again for joining us for our nice workout today. It's already through October. That's crazy. This year has flown by. Thank you so much for those of you who have been constantly joining us. Thank you so much for those of you who this is your first time. And thank you so much for those of you who will join us soon, right? Really appreciate you. Good job, you guys. All right, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. We're gonna start by taking our arm, all right? Arm goes across body. You're gonna pull that arm towards you. Get a nice good stretch. Static stretches this time, meaning we're holding a stretch. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Remember, these can be done seated as well. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I really like this one. Interlace your hands behind you if you can, if your body is allowing you today. And you're just pulling back, getting a nice good stretch. Breathing. Whew. Relax. There you go. Breathing in. Nice good stretch. And again, if you can, if your body allows you, allow yourself to kind of drape over, get a nice good stretch. If you're seated or if you're standing. 3, 2, 1. A nice breath up overhead, arms up overhead. One more stretch down. And then we'll sit down for our last few stretches. Hopefully you guys got the answers. Let's see if I remember the answers. So the 3 words I used, B-O-O. So that's a kind of a memory trick right there, right? You put a word together and hey, in theme with what's going on tomorrow, B-O-O, boo, right? Breakfast, orange, Olivia. All right, so good job, you guys. Let's do a quick leg stretch. 1 foot forward. We're gonna take one hand on my knee, other hand is stretching and raising, or stretching and reaching towards that foot. Make sure that foot is pointed upwards. Nice good stretch here. Getting a nice good hamstring stretch. Coming back up, switching legs. Breathing in deeply. Exhale and reach. Nice good stretch. Hold this position. 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back up. Let's take 2 deep breaths together. We're going to breathe in deeply. Breathe in. And let go. Last one. Breathe in real deep. And release. Whew. And with that, folks, another workout done. A really great job. Thank you so much for joining us, you guys. How was it? Hopefully we survived.